Hurry, folks.
This year's Great State Fair of Texas.
Now, I know you've heard about many stories about Big Tex. In fact, when I was growing up, I thought Big Tex was modeled after Carrollton, Texas' best mayor in history, named Mayor Bill Thomas. Here's a photo of him. I was 6 years old when I first met Mayor Thomas, and well, he was very tall, wore a hat and boots, and even pulled off that big old Texas buckle quite well. I grew up swearing Big Tex was actually modeled after him. Most of us know the real story of Big Tex. You see, he was originally a Santa Claus, small town of Kerens. Kerens is about 100 miles southeast of Fair Park. The giant Santa Claus was meant to attract Christmas shoppers to local stores, rather than heading out of town to buy their gifts. Now, when the state fair officials bought him, they only paid $750 for him. Now, that would be equivalent to around $8,000 nowadays. Now, you may not know this, but Big Tex, he loves to travel. Soon after his debut in 1953, Big Tex hit the road. He accompanied the Dallas Jaycees to a national convention in Minneapolis in 1953, and in 1955, Big Tex oversaw the 50th annual homecoming celebration at Abilene Christian College. First, Big Tex stood in the fairgrounds court of honor when he debuted. A few years later, he moved a bit down to the Lone Star Boulevard, to the center of the roundabout, and he stood there ever since. Big Tex initially had a head made of papier-mache, which often got wet in the rain. In October of 1957, the papier-mache on his hat began to peel. A giant handkerchief had to cover his bald spot. But in 1962, Big Tex became a movie star. That's right, he was featured in State Fair with Pat Boone and Ann Margaret. And in 1965, Big Tex declined a request to attend the Royal Easter Show in Australia. He didn't think he would like being away from Texas soil for that long. In October of 1970, Big Tex lost his shirt. That's right, someone stole it. Now, we know that everything is bigger in Texas, but we don't know of anyone who would have quite been able to fit into that shirt. In September of 1977, Big Tex marked his 25th birthday. At only 25 years old, Big Tex thought he was in need of a facelift. He also upgraded that year to a new faint gold tooth, courtesy of Jack Bridges, who was his creator. In 1993, the original Big Tex head was auctioned off. A resident from the local University Park, Wayne Smith, purchased it, and a couple of years later, he dressed him up as Santa Claus and put him on the top of his house. And if anyone has a photo of that, I really want to see it. In 2001, Big Tex got a little angry. That's right, the voice of Big Tex, Sony Ray Stoltz, resigned angrily over the microphone. Everyone visiting the state fair that year, he was only paid $3,750 for working in a cramped booth and was subjected to sarcasm and humiliated by a supervisor. The man who portrays the voice of Big Tex gets no respect, Stoltz said. On October 19th of 2012, at approximately 10:30 a.m., smoke began billowing from the shirt collar of Big Tex. Within minutes, flames engulfed his 52-foot frame. Dallas Fire Rescue responded immediately. We got a rather tall cowboy. All his clothes burned off. An officer could be heard saying on dispatch, "Fire truck number 777 left at 10:31 a.m." But it was too late. Within the hour of the world's tallest cowboy beginning to blow smoke, the Dallas Morning News reported the tragic news. Big Tex is toast. Only his outstretched arms, his belt buckle, and metal skeleton were left intact. His booming voice felt silent that very fateful day in 2012. Once Fitzgerald and the crew pulled down Big Tex's remains, they laid a tarp over his body. Police motorcycles, meaning to clear the crowd, inadvertently started a funeral procession for Big Tex. People were taking off their hat. They were crying. They had their hands over their hearts and faces. Many people were getting consoled by their loved ones when they were taking Big Tex out of the fair. It was right then when everyone realized that, well, Big Tex was a lot more than fiberglass and chicken wire. During the 2 remaining days of the fair that year, people laid cards, food baskets, children's paintings, and flowers at the place where Big Tex once stood. Even the Fletcher family, who started selling their famous Fletcher original corny dogs at the fair in 1942, took a corny dog bouquet to show their respects. You can't keep a good Texan down for very long. By the next year, well, Big Tex had an upgrade from a size 72 to a size 96 in his cowboy boots. Big Tex was also blessed with a bit more padding in the back, so his Dickie jeans could fit him a little bit better. Dickie jeans that year expanded to a 343 by 250 inch seam. When finished, the newly constructed 25,000-pound Big Tex, and it was resurrected in the middle of the night, just in time for the first day of the fair in 2013. This year, we will be celebrating 137 years of the State Fair of Texas, and you can count on the Texas State Fair and Big Tex for many more generations to come. If you like videos like these, we're going to ask you to do something pretty simple. We're going to ask you to like this video. We're going to ask you to share this video, and we are going to ask you to subscribe to the channel that you're watching this. God bless Texas, y'all.